Hello, my name's Mark. Welcome back for another YouTube video. I've been thinking for a while about how you could get one of these toggle clamps just to lock to the MFT table really quickly and simply, because they are quite handy to use. So this is what I've come up with: a locking bench dog. So you put it on there, twist it on, absolutely lock solid. Then clamp down, no movement in it at all. So that's your hole, a 20mm hole. Put it in. I don't know how easy it is to see on the camera. So basically the piece of metal is on like a cam effect. So as it twists, it then twists over the hole, locks it solid. As it's twisting, it's running slightly uphill, so it's pulling it tight onto the bottom of the bench. So to make one, basically you need, well, obviously a bench dog. I made some bench dogs out of 20mm conduit a few months back. The video's on my channel. I'll put a link in the description, so if you haven't seen it, you can see how to make them. To make yourself one, you need a bench dog. I made some bench dogs out to 20mm conduit. I did a video on it a few months back. I'll put a link in the description if anyone hasn't seen it, or you can just use some 20mm dowel. Also, a key. No, I'm not joking, I really did use a key. Went to my local Timpson's, the lock place, and got them to go through the keys and find a key that was fractionally, the round of the top of the key was fractionally smaller than the bench dog, because the hole's offset, so it's perfect to make the cam effect. It's locking bench dog, you've got to use a key, haven't you, really? So you have to cut like the top of the key off. Keep the rest of the key, because that's what becomes the handle on the top. So you need to cut that off first. So I'll cut the top of the key off. The bench dog needs to be the thickness of the table, so however thick, most of them are 18mm, I think. However thick yours is, make it that thickness. So I'll put a bit of tape on the top there, a bit of tape on the back of the key. So I'm going to super glue those two together just so you can get them apart afterwards, because that's really the trickiest bit, is just to drill that hole exactly the right place where where it is in the key. So if you super glue them together, you can just drill straight through. Okay, so I drilled that out, stuck a bolt, well, like a bolt through there. The head on that bolt is quite big, but it's quite good because it also gives the back of that key quite a bit of support. So, but it does, on one side, it's ever so slightly overhangs. So I'll just file a flat edge on the edge of there. So to hold the head of the key on there, you need to put a nut on there, and then just countersink a hole so that it holds it tight in position, but the thing's still allowed. You've oversized that hole out enough so that the whole thing can still turn as one unit. So I've stuck a nut on the back of there, so the top of the key is now jammed onto the nut, nice and tight. Drilled it out, countersunk it out, so now it goes on there, spins round. So it's just the top sort of twist mechanism to assemble now. So I've just drilled a hole in a piece of, I think it's 6 or 9mm ply to mount the actual toggle clamp onto. It's easier to just drill the hole and then worry about putting the clamp on when you've actually got the thing working. So drilled a hole so that comes through. Then got another bench dog. See that? So I've cut it at an angle. So then drill another offset hole in that. So as you twist it, it then moves uphill, as it were, which then pulls that really tight onto the bottom of the bench. So I'll do that now, show what I mean. I'll just say one thing as well, is when you're messing around with this key thing here, drilling that hole is probably the hardest part to get it, like in the perfect place. But if it goes slightly off, I mean, there's loads of that key there for moving out. I mean, you can just hit it with a file or a grinder, and just, if you've got a fraction bit that's just catching the edge, just buzz it off. Okay, so I've drilled a hole in there and countersunk that, so you can bury a nut head in there again. Got the rest of the key, drilled a hole in, you see, drilled a hole in that. So it's just a case now of assembling it. So the assembly process is to glue the two Benchdogs onto the piece of ply. So you get them in line. It's going to be really hard to see on the camera. So get them in line. I just super glued the two of them to the ply. Make sure obviously you don't get any glue on the thread. So the thread in the middle needs to spin freely. The only reason you're gluing them is obviously so that they don't turn, so that only the nut turns to activate the cam, not the two Benchdogs. So get them glued on. Okay, that's glued on now. You need to stick another nut in there. The key can go in there, and you can have another nut to tighten like that, one onto each other. And then that then, when you tighten it up, that'll then activate the cam. So sometimes you get, I've only got a little bit of glue oozed out there. Just make sure you get that clean, because it still stops it going all the way down and tight into the hole. So now I need to mount the toggle clamp on there, and then you can set the position of the arm. I'll get the toggle clamp bolted on. So now you need to get, so you got your key part, you know, that actually twists the cam, that locks it. So you need to know where, you know, it's unlocked, as it were. Otherwise you can't, it's gonna be a right pain to get it out of the you know, out of the hole. So the easiest way to do that is put it in the hole in the so it's in the hole. Obviously it's in the unlocked position, and then tighten it up. If you then tighten it up, then so by pushing the key against the clamp or whatever point you want to lock it at, because then you tighten it down now, it can't actually move because it's sort of half in the hole and half out the hole. So it can only has to stay in position. Tighten it up, and that's it. You're ready to go, really. Okay, there we have it then. A locking Benchdog with a key and a bit of plastic pipe and a bolt. Let me know what you think in the comments. As always, thanks a lot for watching. Please subscribe. I do actually have another idea for Benchdogs, which may be coming up next week or the week after. It depends on when I get a chance to actually get it to work and make it. But so if you're interested in this sort of thing, please subscribe. We'll keep a lookout for that one. Thanks a lot for watching.